Hello, my name is Håkon, and welcome back, all you long-suffering and patient fighting fantasy aficionados, for yet another episode of Playing Fighting Fantasy. Today's episode being devoted to book number 30 in the series, which is Chasms of Malice, or as I would have called it back in the 80s, of course, Chasms of Malice, because I didn't know yet that chasm was supposed to be chasm. Why would you if you haven't heard anyone say the word? Because it starts with CH, which in English is always ch, except for in Chasms of Malice, for instance, or other chasms are available. And I'll say long suffering because I'm patient. I know you are, but of course, I was intending to make a video a little bit sooner. But as you might be able to hear, if you hear my voice now, I still have the after effects of a cold, a Christmas cold, that meant that I've been coughing and spluttering quite a lot the first few weeks of the year. And when I have a cold in the middle of winter, I do usually have the after effects of it in my throat as sort of morning mucus and things like that for sometimes for months and months, which is very annoying. And so, in order to avoid making videos where most of the actual content ended up being coughing, I had to wait until about now to actually make videos, even though I haven't. I mean, my cold technically left almost a month ago, but yeah, my throat still isn't great. That's just how it often is in winter with me, unfortunately. I'm used to it, and I don't think so much of it. But when I'm making videos and I start coughing all the time, it does make a difference, and it's so much harder to try to edit out all the coughs if I wanted to do that. So I do apologize in advance. There might be some coughing today. I cannot rule it out, but I will try to keep it to a minimum, as it were, and also hopefully be able to edit out the worst coughing fits, as I usually do. At least the sound is something I try to remove when I can. Right, so let's just change our view and go to my desk and get ready for this book. So here we are with my supplies. I've got my dice, my trusty old dice, and I've probably told you about these dice before. There was a few episodes around Seas of Blood, I think, when I did that, where I tried a few different dice, and I just went back to these ones because these dice are the perfect size, the perfect shape, and when I say shape, of course, the rounding of the corners of the dice are really important in how they roll. So for the kind of small rolling that I'm doing when I'm playing these game books, these are the perfect shape, and also they got a nice color to them, I think, and it looks very nice on the video. Easy to read. These were never my favorite back when I used to play role-playing games in the 80s and the 90s. I was never a big fan of the dice, the six-sided dice with the numbers on them. I used to like the one with the dots. I was a bit more old school. But they've grown on me since, and of course, I've never used them as much before as I've done now playing game books in the last several years now, the last few years. Right, so, and my pen, of course, I got my pen and my map, blank as the day it was born, and I got my character sheet, also blank. We'll see what happens as we go along. Right, I feel there's something missing, but I just realized I don't have a cup of tea today. I don't always have a cup of tea. In fact, I'm not sure if actually a cup of tea is one of those things that make me cough more, because you have a warm beverage, so it will dissolve a little bit of the mucus that might be stuck down your throat, and so it's the shifting around of it that makes you cough usually. So hopefully it will behave. I've got water just in case, and yeah. So I think I've got everything I need to have in order to get started. Now, this is a book that I don't know anything about at all because, as I mentioned, I think in my previous few game book playing videos, of course, the first book I discovered was Warlock of Firetop Mountain, a Norwegian version, which came out in, I do believe, 1986 1986. So my game book playing period of the 90s was 1986 until, let's see, when is this book from now? This is 87, yeah. So, actually my sort of prime game book playing phase in the 80s was 1986 until 1987. And the only books that I bought new were Phantoms of Fear and Midnight Rogue. So those are the last two books that I played. And afterwards, I kept them around, but I sort of graduated, as it were, to tabletop role-playing games. So when I think back on it, it really was a really short period of my life where these books were the bee's knees, as it were, the thing that really fascinated me. It feels much longer when I sort of think back on it. And of course, a year is much longer when you're 12 than it is when you're my age. But it's still, it's that thing. It was such a pivotal moment, I think, discovering game books. Not just because it was a game book and the concept is fascinating, but also, as I've mentioned before as well, it's that it was to me the introduction entirely to the genre of fantasy fiction. And it was an introduction to the fact that you could do something differently with a book, which I thought was quite interesting. And also it was part of my education into learning English as well. Of course, I started learning English in school in 1984. And I played my first game book in Norwegian in 1986, but then of course I played the other ones in English. And that, together with a lot of other things, were part of what made me gain the kind of level of English skill that I have today. So yeah, it's all part of the same thing. I did start reading English books, not just the game books, around the same kind of time. That's sort of 1987 kind of time, just a few years after we started learning it in school. So I must have had a reasonable enough level at the time that I felt I could do that and actually read something and comprehend most of it, which in hindsight, it just, yeah, I'm not sure exactly what my level was at the time, but it must have been rather good already. And I did start to sort of talk to myself in English and things like that as well. I started that within 1 year, I remember, of starting English in school. I did talk to myself in English when I wanted to talk to myself, or that's the only time I did talk to myself was in English. Usually when I talk to myself, I don't speak out loud. I think in my head, and nobody would know I was talking to myself. So I don't seem like a mad person, whereas some people think that people who talk to themselves are a little bit crazy, but actually it is perfectly normal behavior. Most people do it to some extent or other. And of course, some people like me are good at just doing it inside our heads if we want to. So in any case, I'm digressing, as I am wont to do, as you know, and I know some of you really like those digressions. There might be more along the way. Okay. Can't make any promises about that either, by the way. Right, so Chasms of Malice. I have no idea what this is about, and I do have to cough a little bit. Excuse me. That's better. Okay. So right, here we have Chasms of Malice, and this one actually includes a color map on the inside. So this is presumably the world we are in Titan. And here is a little red box here, and here we have a map that is then suddenly not in the same kind of, not overhead view. There looks like there's a fortified city here with some towers at the end, and there's no text on this map, which indicates to me that this is possibly a misprint. This book did actually belong to someone who very helpfully put their name in here. Chris Contin, is it? Contin, Chris something, yes. Let's see. Okay. I see here in the list that the only books listed here are the books that are published before this book, so this might be a first edition. Not that that's particularly exciting about a book in this kind of number range. All this is illustrated by Ross Nicholson, of course, who became quite a legend in the fighting fantasy book illustration world. Still is a legend, of course. Let's see. Okay, and the book is written by Luke Sharp, not by. So this is Steve Jackson and Ian Livingstone present. It says here now on the cover. Oh, I'm showing that in the wrong way. Present, yeah. Just avoid the reflections there. And to those who boldly go, especially blah blah blah. Okay, so let's see if there are any special rules, first of all. Luck, skill, stamina, yeah. So that would be standard. Battles, that would be standard. Oh, here's something else. One strike combat. You may find yourself in a situation where there is not enough room for full combat. High ledge, a rope bridge, etc. Here, one good strike will win or lose a fight. You will be instructed to fight one strike on each of these occasions. The procedure is as follows. Throw 2 dice for your opponent, throw 2 dice for yourself. If your throw is greater than your opponent's, then he, she, or it has been knocked off by your blow and has plummeted to doom. If your throw is less than your opponent, then you meet a similar fate. Without skill being involved, that seems a bit strange. I'm not sure if that's meant to be with skill. We'll see when we get there. Fighting more than one creature. Luck. Okay. Using luck in battles. Still standard, it looks like. Restoring still skill, stamina, and luck. Here's something as well. Occasionally, a page may give you instructions to increase or decrease your skill score. Can never exceed its initial value unless specifically instructed. Calling on Tabasha the Bazook, see later, will restore your skill to its initial level at any time. So there's something going on there as well that we don't know about yet in this book. That is a kind of game mechanic / part of the story. Stamina, provisions, okay. And it says here, you may call on Tabasha the Bazook to bring you extra provisions at any time. I don't know what's going on with this Tabasha the Bazook. She may occasionally bring you extra provisions without being asked. Fuel box. Well, in this one, there's fuel involved as well. Okay. Lock. Okay, calling on Tabasha the Bazook will restore your luck to its initial level at any time and increase your initial luck by 1 point. So it looks like Tabasha the Bazook is in this book, is the mechanic that's used instead of potions to restore your abilities and provisions, even in this case. Which is a different mechanic than what you usually have. It's the same similar mechanic, but it's just a different way of describing that mechanic, I suppose. Equipment and Tabasha the Bazook. Let's see. So I'll just maybe should read this just to make sure that I get everything right. So you're armored with a sword, dressed in leather armor, backpack. In addition, you will have Tabasha the Bazook, a noble cat. Okay, so Tabasha the Bazook is a cat. Who, as we know, are all powerful, from the race of cat goddesses. She will aid you on your quest. You may call on her at any time. Excuse me. Bit more water. This does not bode well. I haven't started playing and I'm losing my voice. You may call on her at any time except when engaged in the battle to restore your initial skill or luck. You can only call on her once for this facility, and you must decide which initial score you want her to restore before you set off on your quest. So exactly like a potion. Throughout your adventure, he will also help you by adding to your provisions, blah, blah, blah. But beware, you can only call on the Bazook 9 times. So yeah, 9 lives. And you will have to mark each request in the Tabasha box on the adventure sheet. After you have used up your 9 options, you cannot call on the Bazook again. Okay. Let's start making some notes for my character sheet here. So I got skill, stamina, luck. Let's see what the character sheet looks like now. Okay, yeah. Okay. There's also something here called the Kudam. The 7 Kudam of Golguz are named on your adventure sheet. You must mark off any names that you have beaten in combat. Okay. Okay, this will probably make more sense once I've read the introduction. Let's do the Bazook. Let's put that up here. Let's see, Bazook. And that's supposed to be 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 boxes. And I will usually go with luck. I should probably do my ability scores. See how they fare. I might re-roll these as usual because I know that most books it's just completely hopeless if you don't have good abilities, especially skill. Skill 2 is too little. 1 is even worse. 2 is still bad. 3, 9 skill. Should I start with 9 skill? Let's try 9 skill. I will have to increase that at some point. The thing is, of course, before I even played the game, I don't know if it is what you can do with these abilities. So let's see where we go. Stamina 8 plus 12, that is 20. And luck, 1 die. No, it's too little. Let's make it okay. Luck 12. And of course, since Bazook cannot restore my skill to any higher than the initial score, and of course, if you lose skill, usually you've made a wrong turn in a book. I'm going to go with the usual and say it's a potion, as it were, of luck. For Bazook, the 7 Kudam of Golguz. There's spells here as well. But I noticed there's spells, but there's no power. So that means that spells are organized in a slightly different way. There's no mention of gold in this one, which is unusual. Provisions, fuel, and ciphers, it says here as well. I'll probably just make a note of that sort of ad hoc as needed. Okay, and the Kudams of Golguz are Gishrak, Gurskut, Friankara, Barkek, Grifkek, Turka, and Kahrak. How else would you pronounce a double H? No, Kahrak, I suppose. So I don't know if I need to put them on my yeah, let's put them in the margin here. So we got Geshrak, Gurskut, Friankara, Barkek, Grifkek, Jurka, and Kahrak. Okay. Okay, as usual with names in books like these, it looks like the names are made by someone who isn't an expert in languages, but that's all right. They sound okay to me, which has sort of a nice rough edge to them, which is the point, I guess. But that's it. All right. So background. Let's see what is going on here. So Gorak, a minor kingdom situated between the rivers Dart and Dagger. I think, have you heard about the river Dart before in some other book? I think I might have done. Anyway, I'm not sure. Anyway, tributaries of the river Swordflow. Gorak was founded by Tancred the Magnificent after his adventures with his brother Orguz in the Dark Chasms, also known as the Chasms of Malice, maybe. Let's find out. The kingdom was to be the gateway between the areas of Kul and the caverns, chasms, and tunnels of the Gadon people. Gorak has been without a monarch for many years and has been governed by the Lord's Ridermark. Gadon, or Feel Brethren, the Gadon people are originally from southwest Kul. They migrated to the deep chasms for no known reason, although some authorities claim religious persecution, and created their own culture. They began to give birth to blind babies soon after constructing their complex system of tunnels. Their other senses were greatly enhanced, and they became masters of the dark. The Gadon Knights, the Sense Warriors, are supreme fighters in the dark. They are rarely to be seen in the Toplands, as they call Kul, since the time of Tancred the Magnificent. This is from Treatise on the Kingdoms of Southwest Kul by Ignatius Pomfret. Okay. In that year, and this is another one, in that year did we halt the malice that was afflicting our kingdom, but at great cost. We lost our beloved brother Orguz to the evil, and in a mighty struggle we cast him into the dark chasms, and did entrust the noble Gadon warriors to guard him and his Kudam spawn for all eternity. The great seals were bound to the true shield and placed in the darkest vaults of Gorak Keep. Pray God that none will have to... Fragment from the Annals and Histories of Tancred the Magnificent, King of Gorak. Okay, so that's a bit of flavor. It looks like somebody has tried to do some actual world building in this one to a slightly higher level than what is usually the case for fighting fantasy books, and that is nice to see. Because they thought about history, people, cultures, yes, a little bit more than usual, things that have happened in the past that actually affect the present. Sometimes that has been the case in other fighting fantasy books, but usually it's very simplistic, a single event that is guiding a single thing happening in the present. It's basically just a sort of, yeah, this is the reason this is happening, we need one, and this is what it is kind of thing. Here it sounds a little bit more elaborate, and it sounds like the writer may actually have had a few more things in mind as well that they knew about that they might implement that is not put in this bit either. So yeah, we'll see if there's more of that along the way, which I probably would enjoy when I get to it. Right. While flying in the guise of a hawk over southwest Kul on his way to the gathering of the Mage Order, the wizard Astragal is summoned by the Lord Ridermark, regent of Gorak, to investigate the sudden change in the fortunes of the small kingdom. Lord Ridermark explains that strange dark creatures are abroad. People are attacked and killed for no reason but sheer malice. How do they know if they don't know why? The vital truffle trade route along Tancred's march is no longer safe, and the popular Aslef, leader of the stalwart Knights of the Grey Order, has disappeared. Nobody can understand what is happening in what was, until recently, a peaceful land. This is a bit more bog standard, though, so maybe I was a bit quick to jump to the conclusion that world building was happening here to make it more interesting. Well, yeah, that's all right. Because the reason for what's happening is still an interesting one, possibly. Astragal assumes a worried expression and rushes off to consult the annals and histories of Gorak. The great dusty tome confirms his memory of the story of the true shield. This is something that's going to be significant, I'm sure. He slams the book shut and makes his way to the deepest vault of Gorak Keep. By the light of a blazing torch, he finds the great seals broken and the shield gone. Across the floor is a wide crack leading to the dark chasms. Ah, the plot thickens. Astrogal explains to Lord Rydermark his fears that someone has unleashed the malice of Orguz and the Kudam by breaking the Great Seals. If Orguz has the shield, he will be trying to break the spell of its age-old power. If he succeeds, the 7 Kudam will then have the power to multiply. First there will be 49, then 2,401, then 5,764,801, until they become uncountable hordes, and Orguz becomes invulnerable. Astrogal emphasizes that to kill Orguz, it is necessary first to destroy all the Kudam, and only a direct descendant of Tancred the Magnificent can then hope to stand up to the evil power of Orguz himself. Lord Rydermark tells Astrogal that Tancred's line of descendants ended many ages ago. Astrogal ignores the remark and pulls out the crystal of Bahriya, which shows him the way to the blood heir of Tancred the Magnificent. Astrogal finds you working in the under kitchens as third assistant rabbit skinner. Yeah, so you're not the rabbit skinner of the kitchen, which sounds like quite a measly job. You're not even the assistant rabbit skinner. You're the third assistant rabbit skinner, which is hard to imagine that such a title would be needed. How many rabbits are they skinning? He grabs you, and before you have had the chance to wipe your hands, whisks you away to the vaults. He stands you in the middle of a dusty room and whispers some strange incantations. You stare in wonder as a sword rises from the dirt and lodges itself firmly in your hand. Ooh, is this a sword I see before me? Etc. Yeah. Astrogal stands back and proclaims you Tancred's heir. So, yeah, it's like Return of the King, isn't it? Yeah, this is a completely new version. Astrogal explains the quest for the shield that no other may undertake. No other can strike fear into the heart of Orguz or wield the shining sword. He also warns you about the traitor in Gorak. You must be on your guard at all times, especially if when you return. You strap on plain leather armor and a simple cloak. Astrogal announces that he has no potions with him to help you in your quest. Instead, he picks up a small cat and passes it to you. This is Tabasha the Bazook from the line of the cat goddesses. She will stay close to you and help in your quest. Use her cautiously and wisely. 9 times. No more. Now there is no time to lose. He urges you on to the deep chasm in the great vault. Turn to 1. Okay, this is actually quite a good introduction. It's sort of and also I quite like you now actually have an anti-hero hero as well, someone who wasn't expecting to be put in this position. But well, there's more than one way to skin a rabbit, as I used to say back in the kitchens. Now, as quite an interesting backstory, I think, and background. So I'll be intrigued to see how this goes further. But interestingly, of course, you don't actually know that much about what's going on because you wouldn't. You're third assistant rabbit skinner. Why would you? And perhaps it's suitable I only have a skill 9, when that is the kind of, yeah. I suppose the sword will do a lot of the job. It must be a magic sword, surely. Anyway. Excuse me. Oh, yeah, Ross Nicholson artwork. Lovely. So this is presumably Astrogal saying, oh, toodaloo, good luck, all that stuff, toodle pips. You leap into the darkness and land on a rocky slope. It is very dark. Looking up at the hole, you see the wizard Astrogal waving to you and saying, remember that you are Tancred's heir and, well, good luck. You turn back to face the darkness. Tabasha nestles in your hood and begins to purr. At the same time, the sword starts to vibrate and shine. You see the path ahead. Several small furry creatures rush for cover. You walk along the rocky tunnel for a long time, until it opens out into a larger cavern. You find 3 exits. Which one will you take? So, interesting beginning, lots of flavor, interesting world building aspects, and straight into a dungeon crawl. This sounds like it could be a good fighting fantasy book. We'll see what happens later. But it sounds like a lot of thought has gone into the shaping of the backstory and its significance in the path through the book, hopefully as well, not just as flavor, but as actual game mechanic, like the cat, I suppose. Okay, so left. So 3 exits. The one on the left, a narrow crack in the middle, or a wider crack on the right, which drops down almost vertically. That sounds a bit scary. Okay, 1, 2, 3. So we have 50 and 2, 5, 3 or 3, 0, 2. You know what? I'm going to start with a narrow crack in the middle. You squeeze through the narrow crack and find yourself in a cavern full of old, dry, woody roots, stacked neatly in the corner. As you examine the cavern, you find a small metal trap with a recently killed rabbit inside. This is my area of expertise. You take the rabbit, add 2 meals to your provisions box, and some of the wood. Add 2 points to the fuel box. I'm still a bit unsure what this fuel is for. That wasn't quite clear, was it? Fuel 2, provisions 2. There are sharp tools and old skins scattered around the cavern, and you decide to leave by the only other tunnel. When you have been walking for the only other tunnel. What only other tunnel? There was no mention of an other tunnel before. Okay. When you have been walking for a few hundred paces, you hear a shriek behind you, and then the sound of pursuit. You begin to run, but you stop at a deep chasm which is crossed by a narrow stone bridge. Across the chasm stands an evil-looking dark elf holding a large staff. Do you attempt to cross the chasm, or stay where you are to await your pursuer? Okay. So, cross 119 or wait 398. I'm going to try to cross. Maybe, yeah, no, yes, I'm going to try to cross. The dark elf stares at you with glowing red eyes and fingers his staff, which radiates a bluish light. Who dares cross Midnight Chasm? He shouts and walks out onto the perilous bridge. He looks you up and down. Aye, you'll be fine for my lord's slave battalion when you wear the collar. He begins to cross the bridge, but stops when he sees you pull out your sword. He realizes that he has got a fight on his hands. Dark Elf 8, Stamina 6. If at any time double 1 is thrown, then that combatant has fallen off the bridge. If you win, you cross the bridge and carry on along the path. Turn to 249. 249. Right, so first battle, and as is my tradition, I do roll for battles in the beginning of doing a game book, and when I get to the point where I just want to find the right path and the battles aren't interesting to me anymore because they're just random events, then I will stop doing it. But at the moment I will. So 8, 6, and I am at 9, 20. Okay, so I've got a 1 scale point advantage. He rolls 7, I roll 5, so he hits me. I've done to 18. 7 and 8, he's down to 4. 8 and 4, I'm down to 16. 8 and 9, he's down to 2. 11 and 3, I'm down to 14. 7 and 5, 12. 9 and 12. And he is dead. Right. And my stamina is now 12, which is quite low, actually. So I'm going to need to provision, actually 2 provisions right away, and go back up to 20. There we are. That's what the rabbits are for. Okay. 249. The path is very rocky, and sometimes the tunnel nearly closes up. After a long time, you begin to get tired and hungry. You sit down and look at your provisions. If you have enough from... Okay, we can't eat until you're told you can eat them. Okay, that's fair enough. It didn't... I don't think it actually... I might have missed that when I was reading. So... if you have enough for a meal, have it now and add 4 stamina points. If you have the means to cook the food... Whoa, does that mean it's possible to cook the food? Is that... Oh, hang on. What the fuel is for? How does fuel work? I didn't see anything about... Okay, so collect any fuel that you can find and mark it in the fuel box. In certain cases, you may be instructed to add a further 2 stamina points for cooking a meal. So basically, 1 fuel adds 2. Okay, so I'm going to use... in that case, 1 provision and 1 fuel means that I regain 6 stamina points, and I'm now at 18. Okay, so I think I got that right. It's not that well explained in the rules, I must say. But you can sort of see the thought is good, but it hasn't been rendered that well, I think. If you cannot eat, deduct 2 stamina points. Okay, that would be quite bad. Okay, turn to 10. Now I should make a note of the combat here. So that is 8, 9 there. Okay. Turn to 10. So we have here, and we go to paragraph 10. You carry on walking along the tunnel until you stumble on what looks like a large claw stuck in the earth. Fascinated, you pull at it and are startled to see it move. This should have been a choice, by the way. The claw rises out of the ground, followed by another. Then a black bird-like creature springs out of its hiding place. It has 4 arms. 4 arms. And 2 wings. You cannot pass it without fighting. Griphawk. Skill 9, stamina 10. I think skill 9 is not going to cut it, because even the first battle was against the skill 8, second battle against the skill 9. There's no way that is going to be viable. And also, it's already feeling quite combat heavy, this book. Not my favorite kind of book. Should not be the battles that make it hard. It should be finding the path and other puzzles and clues and things. 9, 10. Let's just roll that one as well. So we've got 9, 10. I am at 9, 18. No skill point difference, so high roll wins basically. 8, 6. So 16, 10, 4, 14, 11, 12. He's down to 8, 5, 10. He's down to 6, 10, 7. I'm down to 12, 6, 7. He's down to 4, 7, 7. Draw. 3, 9, he's down to 2. And finally, perhaps 3 and 10, and he is dead. Okay, and I'm down to 12 stamina again. Okay. I win, and I turn to 74. You walk down the tunnel. In the distance, you can make out some blazing torches, and as you get nearer, the tunnel opens out into a cavern. On the right is a stone building with small round windows and 6 torches blazing above the entrance. Standing outside are 2 large horned koyunlu, harnessed to a cart. Just below the torches is the famous Dragon's Breath Inn and Ale House. As you stand there, a large figure in a black cloak comes out of the building and falls flat on its face. So you go into these chasms. How do you know so much about these chasms? I mean, how do you know about the ale house and the inn? So a large figure in a black cloak comes out of the building and falls flat on its face. Do you help, or do you prefer to keep a low profile? I think I prefer to keep a low profile. 3, 5, 3, or 1, 5, 7. Because, well, I am obviously the only one who can save the world again in this one. But if I help that person, they might help me. It's a possibility. Maybe I should help. They might have fallen down on purpose so that you come over to help and then they rob you blind and kill you. I'm going to help. You help him get to his feet. He looks at you and you realize that he is a troll, rather the worse for drink. He shouts at you. How dare you touch me, you scum! Kneel down and have your head chopped off. He pulls out a scimitar and takes a swing at you. If you win, you hide the body and go into the Dragon's Breath Inn. Okay. Oh, that's another thing too. 2 battles and no loot. Also very unusual. The thing is, it feels more satisfying to win a battle in a game book if there's interesting loot. Because there's no gold in this one. So, but of course there should be items. There should be something that adds flavor, that adds interest, and sometimes that are items that are of the essence for the actual playthrough as well should be part of the loot you get from battles in order to justify the presence of the battles, not just being battle for battle's sake, if you see what I mean. So that means that this is seemingly the wrong choice, although I do notice that there's a different paragraph I go to next, of course, if I kill him and hide the body. Let's see, 381. Okay. Okay, let's roll this one too. Because now I haven't had a chance to regain stamina. Because it seems that... I'll see if it says something in the beginning, but it looks to me like you can only use your provisions when you're told you can. It doesn't actually say. May rest and eat at any time except when engaged in battle. Okay, so you can eat and rest anytime. Okay. It did say. So it's just sometimes you're allowed to use fuel which is when you, yeah. So it's just sometimes you can use fuel. Okay, I'm just going to roll this one. So this is 6/6, which is, there we go, 6/6. And I have 9, 12, so I've got a 3 skill point advantage on this one, finally. Something which is more normal for the beginning of a book. He rolls 6, I roll 5. It's down to 4. 8, 7, he's down to 2. And 5, and 8, and he has drunk his last pint. Okay. So I hide the body as an honorable heir of the kingdom does, and go into the inn. It is very smoky in the Dragon's Breath Inn. As you stand in the dark corner, a goblin comes out of a door on the right. He is chewing a large bone. He looks you up and down, spits, and then enters a door in front of you. You catch a glimpse of a roaring fire as he shuts the door behind him. Do you wish to go through the door in front of you, or prefer to go into the room on your right? Okay, so where he comes from. So we've got going into 84, the actual inn, or into 262, the room on the right, which is either the toilet or some kind of back office or staff room or something. Probably. Let's find out. I'm going to go into the room on my right, see what's there. Must be something interesting. Oh, hang on. Did I read that the wrong way? 381. Hang on. The door in front of you or the room. Oh, hang on. So the room on the right. Okay. The room on the right is 262, yeah? But 262 looks like the room in front of me. Well, I thought that... Oh, that's the... Oh, yeah. Okay, so I was looking at I read it the wrong way. So I was thinking that the room in front of me was the one with the roaring fire. So 262, that is the main inn. So the room in front of me is where he went in, and the room on the right is the actual main part of the inn. Okay, so what I wanted to do was actually go to the other room first, whatever it is. But he is going to be there, that's all right. I'm going to go to the room in front of me, which is the same room that the goblin went into. I've got it the wrong way around in my head. Okay. So that's a staff room or something. Okay. The room is large, with a great fire burning at one end. There are dark cubicles all around, and several people stare at you as you enter. To one side, you hear the screams of orcs enjoying themselves, whatever that means. And in the corner sits a miserable-looking dwarf wearing a metal collar, so he's a slave then. "Gadon, where's my food?" screams a troll, while he punches bits out of the wall, as you do. The Gadon walks in. She is blind, but the Gadon, okay, but seems to sense her way. So Gadon knows other people. So it seems like somebody has been enslaving these underground people who live in the chasms. The Gadon walks in. She is blind, but seems to sense her way around without any trouble. She deposits a flagon and plate on the troll's table, comes over to you and sniffs. "You smell of Toplander. Why have you come here? There is great danger." Do you choose to confide in her, or decide to leave at once? I'm going to tell her what I'm up to. Maybe she can help. That would make sense, wouldn't it? So 43. Leave. Let's see. Right. Front. Confide. So I'm going to confide in her and see if that is something that might help. When you whisper the name of Orguz to her, she shivers and tells you to follow her upstairs. She enters a dimly lit room where sits another Gadon. She introduces him as Bosak, her father, and explains your quest for the shield. He sits in silence for a while, blind eyes turned towards the floor. "You are in great danger. The Dark Lord's strength increases every day. His Kudam now roam at will through our old tunnels, chasms, and crags. The iron mines are being worked again by his slaves. You will need Gadon help. Look to the old man in the iron cave. Bossak gives you directions, and his daughter brings you real food, not the muck we feed them downstairs. Add 2 stamina points. Turn to 69. Okay, so plus 2 stamina, and turn to 69. And this seems like the correct option in this particular spot. And also it is an indication that this is on the correct path to get to the end, because this is something that is useful. In fact, this is a kind of thing that sounds like maybe this is where you should also get a lock point as well. So I get 2 stamina, which means I'm now up to 14. Which means it's not that great a meal, is it? Because my meals give me 4. I'm turned to 60. Unless it is 2, it is 4, isn't it? I'm just double checking now, because maybe it's 2 plus 2. No, it's 4, yeah. Okay. So it means my rabbits are better than whatever they're serving me. Okay. 69. Which means I can also then, I suppose, add, I'll just eat my other rabbit as well. Just to, so I'm now up to 18 stamina. I need the stamina because of, that's the thing, in lots of these books, when your skill is really high, you don't need so much stamina refilling. You don't need to eat so many provisions as you do when your skill is low. Okay. Paragraph 69. Leave the dragon's breath in by a side door. The directions you were given are precise paces and touchstones. Now, maybe it's quite possible now that there was something in the other room that I was supposed to have seen before going into this bit. So, yeah, we'll see about that later. That might be one of the places I will check out when I play it next time after having died in this one. You leave the dragon's breath in by a side door. The directions you were given are precise paces and touchstones. You see the expected rough-hewn stone stairway, and you begin a long, winding climb. After a while, you find yourself walking on spiky rocks and notice that the roof of the tunnel is covered with them. They look very dangerous. Suddenly, you hear a crack. Test your luck. So, we've got a luck test. Okay. Okay, lucky 347. Unlucky 197. So unlucky and lucky. Okay, 347. I roll a 4, so I'm lucky. Luck down to 11. And I go to 347, and that rhymes, so it must be true. Okay. A stone dart misses you. You prepare to ward off other darts with your sword. The stairs end, and as directed, you continue along a level tunnel. Suddenly, you hear a scream for help coming from a large crack on the left. You go through the crack to help or ignore the screams. Okay. Okay, 279 or 155. Help or ignore. I am going to help. I'm in goody two shoes. I'm here to save the world from evil, and you can't save evil by being evil. Or can you? You run into the small cave. I might have to blow my nose soon. In the middle is a young Gadon, bound up in a strange webbing. You check the cave. There are no other exits or tunnels. You begin to cut the sticky bindings when suddenly a giant fang spider drops on top of you from the roof of the cave. You squirm out from under it and draw your sword. 6, 10. If you win, you cut the Gaddon free, and it takes you to the Iron Cave, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Let's do the battle first. So this is a 6-10, so I've got a 3 skill point advantage. I've got 18 stamina now. Let's see, so 4, 6, 8, 6, 5, he's got 6 left, 9, 11, 4, 7, 8, 2, and finally perhaps 10, 9, and the spider is dead. Long live the spider. Okay. If you win, you cut the Gaddon free, and it takes you to the Iron Cave. There are 2 doors, and it tells you to take the left door. Add 2 luck points. Okay, so this sounds like when you get luck points, and this is one of my theories, you only get luck points, or you definitely should only get luck points in a game book if you are on the right path. So let's see. Now, would it be nice if they actually did another paragraph there just to do the after battle thing, but there you go. I do prefer it when it says if you win, go to paragraph such and such, and then because you don't actually know what's going to happen until after you win the battle. Okay, 199. Let's go to 199. So left door, yeah, okay. You push the door open and find yourself in a large iron-lined cave. Large books are stacked all around, and in the corner, sitting by a coal fire, is an old Gaddon man. A book is open on his knees, and he is looking straight ahead, feeling the pages with fat, sensitive fingertips. He knows you are there. Come in, Toplander. Ah, you carry the smell of the cool breeze. I have been expecting you for a long time. I have been expecting you, yes. The old man does not explain his remark. Tabasha jumps down onto his lap and begins to purr. In the silence, you are sure. So he jumps into the lap, and so you got the cat there. And you say, "Oh, I've been expecting you." Suddenly, you see a dagger flying towards you, and before you know it, the sword in your hand has leapt up and diverted the point away from you. Turn to 294. Okay. 294. The old man catches his breath. Yes, that is the sword. I helped spellbind the blade many years ago. He picks up a large book from one of the shelves. Now, heir to Tancred. We must be quick. You are in great danger. The Kudam are becoming very strong and enslaving all the other beings in the chasms. As the shield cracks, the Dark Lord becomes more powerful. I cannot teach you much of the sense fight. This I leave to others. But study these symbols carefully. They are from the golden age of the Field Brethren, when most of these tunnels were built. I mean left, right, danger, safe, up, down. The old man then brings you another book of secret ciphers, which he explains. Turn to 399. But you must remember to come back to this section. Okay. So left, right, danger, safe, up, down. Quite logical. The left, right, up, and down are like arrows, except not pointed. And danger is complete full of the dots, and not danger is without the dots. And then there's some gobbledygook here, which doesn't mean anything. Okay. $399. Okay, so I have to go to 399 as a sort of a side thing here. So 399. And then I'm supposed to come back again here, it says. So arrow, 399. Ciphers, the old Gaddon counting system, are a way for the blind Gaddon to feel certain spellbound numbers, which, when whispered, will open ancient doors that were built in the heyday of Field Brethren culture. The secret has never been discovered by Orguz. Look at the sequence of ciphers. 3 rows of 3. Each raised circle has a specific value. Okay, so this is binary from the top right. It looks like, yep. A blank is indicated by a dot. Add the values of the circles that give you the secret cipher. Thus, equals 13. Okay, so that's, yeah. 1, 4, 4, 5 plus 8. Yep. Okay. The illustrated page gives the ciphers from 1 to 12. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. So basically, binary from the top right, going left, and then down. Okay. Okay. So how do I know when it is a number or one of these ones? Less obvious. Let's find out later. Right. The old man brings you food at 2 stamina points. Okay, let's see. +2. Oops. +2 stamina. Oh, yeah. And again, this obviously is a section that you have to be at in order to you find the right path to win the game. You cannot win the game without having been here. So this is part of the one true path, if there is such a thing in this game book. Doesn't say anything about that in the beginning. Sometimes it says that it's easy to get through. No, it doesn't say that you can get through with any kind of abilities in this one. Excuse me. Okay, +2 stamina. And I'm up to 20, my original score. So the old man brings you food and tells you to seek the caves of Minusadur, where burns the heart flame. He warns, temper the sword that it may strike the lethal blow. Okay, so you have to find the flames, temper the sword in the flames, and it becomes even more powerful. When you eventually take your leave, you have to decide whether to head to the left or to the right. You could have just asked, couldn't you, really? I mean, seriously, you're talking to the guy who knows everything here, and you say, oh, where am I supposed to go next? No, 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 no. You leave, and you're sort of, oh, am I going left or right now? Oh, I have to decide. Oh, I can't go back and ask that guy, can I? Because he wouldn't know, surely. Okay. And I think this is a very good place for me to swap pages on my map. So this looks very linear now, but there might be more things going on to the side that I don't know about. I'm just going to go and make another page. And it's nice to have a little bit of extra space. Well, this is where you get clues, I suppose. So let's put clues there. There we are. So we are at 294. Let's put 294 again here, just for. And then we have 2 options. Left and right. Okay. 144 is left and 252 is right. I'm going to turn right here. You walk along the tunnel for a long time. Suddenly, Tabasha jumps off your shoulder, or Tabasha maybe, and begins to scratch at the side of the tunnel. You look carefully and find a narrow crack into which you jam the tip of your sword, as you do with your sword when you want to make sure that it doesn't get blunted. The crack widens until suddenly a door swings open. In front of you stand 3 stone figures, each by the side of an open door. You can think of nothing else but to ask each in turn if their door leads to the caves of Minusadur. Maybe the double D is like in Welsh, it's the sound, so Minusadur. The first figure proclaims that the third figure shows the true way. The second figure proclaims that the first figure shows the true way. The third figure is silent. If you have any guidance to the nature of the three stone wraiths, apply it now. Which door do you wish to enter? Okay, so this is something that you could have been clued about somewhere else in the book, which means that I will have missed now a clue somewhere along my path, which is nice to know about. I mean, that the fact that there is a clue that I missed. I mean, so also it indicates that maybe the clue is even if you turn left first here rather than turning right. That is also a possibility. Often clues aren't too far away from where you need them. So 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 6, 1, 7, 3. Okay. Now, okay, so one of these say that. Okay, what did it say again? So the first figure proclaims that the third figure shows the true way. The third figure is the one that doesn't say anything, okay? Second figure proclaims that the first figure shows the true way. And the third figure is silent. Maybe this is some kind of problem similar to the one that one person is lying, and let's say that one is lying and the other two are telling the truth, or that kind of thing. Maybe it's one of those. Maybe two of them are lying. That's the thing, I don't know, because I haven't encountered the clue to this puzzle. So if one of them is lying and the others are telling the truth, that means that it must be door number 1 or 3. If two of them are lying and one is telling the truth, and both of these would have to be wrong, and it's door number 2. If all these three have different, one is lying, one tells the truth, and one doesn't speak, if you have those 3 options, then again it has to be door number 1 or door number 3. But that doesn't actually help. Then what kind of clue could there be that would actually lead to the solution of this puzzle? I'm going to take the third door. It doesn't say anything. It's not trying to claim it's anywhere else, and it's not saying it is the door. It's not saying it isn't the door. I'm just going to do the third door. You step inside and the door shuts firmly behind you. Add 2 lock points. That sounds like the right thing, doesn't it? Okay. Okay, 12. Suddenly you hear a voice in the dark. You seek the hearth flame, brave adventurer. Beware. Many have entered. So it seems like this is the right choice then. I was just thinking the guy who stays silent is the one who doesn't have anything. It's not trying to tell you anything else. So maybe this one of these is lying and the others are, yeah, I don't know. You seek the hearth flame, brave adventurer. Beware. Many have entered, but few have left Minas Ithil. A wisp of green smoke leads you on and you follow. Seek the flame that cannot be seen. Enter and experience the many caves again and again. Okay, that's some kind of clue, maybe. Some hint. Seek the flame that cannot be seen. Enter and experience the many caves again and again. The smoke dissipates and you are in complete darkness. The sword will not shine and Tabasha is cowering in your pocket. You stretch your hands out and walk into the darkness. Turn to 2. Okay. 2. You feel around the cave and find 2 metal doors, one marked with the familiar northwest rune, the other marked northeast. I don't know the northwest and northeast runes. Do I? I've not been told about northwest and northeast runes. Okay, so there's some continuity error going on here. You search around but find nothing else in the cave. Do you go through the northwest door or go northeast? Okay. V59, northwest, northeast. So, is the northwest rune familiar and the other isn't? It's not very clear, is it? I'm going to go northwest anyway. That's since that was the familiar rune, it said. You are in a cave with 3 metal doors marked in runewrite. There is also an old unmarked wooden door. Which do you enter? Okay. I think it's possible that whatever puzzles are sort of implied by these choices seem like a better idea in the writer's head than they come across on the page. Okay, so I got southeast, which brings me back to 2. Okay, 2, hang on, yes. Oh yeah, southeast, obviously. Oh yeah, it's a maze, isn't it? This is a maze, which means I should be doing this, mapping this very precisely for the directions. Okay. So I'll remove these. And number 2 here is also, I'll make that northwest, so 205. Northwest again. And then we have northeast, 382 northeast. Okay. Or a wooden door. 39. Okay, so I'm going to try the wooden door because that's the one that was the odd one out here. You're in a cave which gives off an intense bright light from an unknown source. The intensity increases until it is unbearable, and you cannot move. All thoughts and remembrances of the previous caves fly from your mind. Deduct 1 skill point. You feel that you have just entered Minus Salud. Turn to 2. Okay, so that's -1 skill. Go back to 2. Okay, these are the caves you have to go through again and again, clearly. Okay, so now I'm back to 2. I know where that goes. It goes northwest or northeast. So I'm going to go northwest again, 277, and then I'm going to go northwest again, which was 205, if I can read my own writing. Let's see, 277, just double check now. 205, yeah. 205. The door closes behind you. In the middle of the room are a series of crystals emitting a purple glow. Above them is a legend in Volga runewrite. Count the crystals for life. There are 33 of them at 2 lock points. Okay. You found 3 possible exits. Which do you take? So you can go back where you came from. You can go northwest again. No, nothing interesting. Just an email notification. northeast. So that's 2, 6, 4, 16. Or you can go back where you came from. And of course, then you can go northeast from there, of course. Plus 2 block, 33. Maybe the number has some kind of clue in it. What is 33 in the dot binary thing? That is, yeah, so 32. So that's 1 plus 32. Okay. So I'm going to go northeast again, 2, 6, 4. 2 hooded figures stand before you in the cave. One is Astragal, the other he introduces as Tancred. Tancred tells you that Oguz is no more and that the quest is over. Yes. You will be well rewarded. Just then you hear laughing behind you. You turn around and find no one. Turning back, you find no trace of the figures. You are in a cave of illusion. Another illusion is beginning to form, but you ignore it. There are 4 exits. Which do you choose? Southwest, 205, yeah. Southeast, 382. Well, that is this one. Northeast, 107. 107. Northwest, 355. I'm going to go to 382. You're in a dark, empty cave. There are 4 exits, each marked with familiar runes. Which do you choose? Southwest, southeast, northeast, northwest. Okay, so this goes to 359, 277, 264, and 334, which is a new one. So 334. I'm going to go northeast to 334. You're in a cave full of swords. They are stacked on the floor, and you have to walk on them to get across to the exits. To all of them, including the one you came from? Yeah. That's not very good. Because that wouldn't be true. So you can go to 107, northwest, northeast, 200. 200. Southeast, 194. Yeah. 194. Or southwest, 382. Okay. Southeast, 194, and crossing the swords, obviously, because... Okay. Of course, doesn't have any effect, though. You feel around the cave and discover a large stone statue holding a sword. It is cold to the touch. You now have a choice of 3 exits. So it feels like there should have been some other choices there as well, like examining the sword, trying to take the sword. No? Southwest, 359. Northwest, 334. Yeah, got that one here. Northeast, 246. That's a new one. 246. The cave is full of ancient dwarf armor in huge mounds. You have to push a lot of the suits over to find all the exits. Which door do you choose? This is beginning to remind me a little bit, although it is better than the mindless wandering in Space Assassin. But yeah, I'm a bit skeptical of this kind of construction. It's a bit of a cop-out in a way. Northwest 200, southwest 194, yeah, or northeast 27. I'm sort of gradually moving eastwards, aren't I? 27. In the middle of the cave, 3 witches sit around a fire. They ignore you, but you can see some doors clearly marked. But why am I supposed to ignore them? Am I supposed to ignore them? I don't have a choice of not ignoring them, which seems really weird. Northeast again. I'm just gonna running out of room for the eastwards direction now. 307. Southwest 246. Yeah, I got that. Northwest 188. 188. I'm going to continue east 307. Oh, that's a cool picture. There is a blue light in the center of the cave. You see a row of crystals, and next to them a legend in Runewrite. Whisper the total number of crystals in the caves of Minas Tirith if you wish to leave. Okay, so it's the numbers of the crystals that are the clues here in that case. I know about 33 of them. There may be more because I haven't been around. There are 67 crystals in this particular cave. Okay, so we've got 67. So I know about 100 crystals. You whisper this number, but nothing happens. Why would you do that if you already seen other crystals? See, that's another logical flaw here of this construction. You wouldn't say that number because yeah. If you know the total number of crystals contained in the caves of Minas Tirith and wish to leave, go to that number now. If not, there are exits southwest and west. Okay, so I know about 100. I don't know if I wish to leave, but no, that can't be it. So there must be more crystals somewhere. So I have to go and find more crystals. So I can go to. Right. So where have I haven't been to 200. I'm just going to go to 200. You're in an empty cave. Beneath your feet, you find a metal trapdoor. Do you go through this, or do you choose one of the 4 exits? Okay, so this is got a sort of a side room thing. Maybe that's where interesting things happen. So 188, 246, 334, 21, or I'll just put that in a different color. The room that is not part of the actual maze, which is 61. And I'm going to go to 61 and see what there is there. The trapdoor shuts behind you, and in the pitch darkness, you can feel steps leading down. As you climb down, you can feel a strange warmth, as though you were getting nearer to an invisible flame. I'm supposed to get to an invisible flame. Just then, the sword begins to glow, and you see a large stone cauldron. Around it are 4 seated figures with swords in hand. They wear ornate armor and do not move. You know that this is the heart flame. Here you must temper your sword. You walk forward and plunge your sword into the cauldron. Suddenly there is a great cry. You see a dark shadow writhing and smell a filthy stench. The figure clutches at its left knee. When you lift the blade out, it is at first invisible. Then it takes on its old shape and shines as never before. Add 2 luck points and 1 skill point. Mark on your adventure sheet abilities box that your sword has been tempered by the heart flame. So this is, it seems, where one needs to go. 2 luck points. Yeah, can't do that skill. Remember any other secrets you may have gleaned. You then hear the guards of the heart flame chanting and everything disappears. Turn to 100. So 100 is actually the exit after all. But why would you exit until you found the... Yeah, I don't know. It's a bit weird, this one. But there you go. I'm going to just move it away a little bit here to get to 100. The thing is, it's not clear. If 100 is the number of crystals in the caves, and that's where you're supposed to go, then of course the paragraph following would have to make it clear that that is actually the correct one. But if it doesn't, then that doesn't work as a mechanism for as a mechanic for I guess a game mechanic to be the exit for something like that. Anyway, that was a bit somehow, I think. You find yourself in a dark chamber. As you stumble around in the gloom, you find a well. Looking down, you see nothing but darkness, and when you throw a rock into it, you hear nothing. You walk around the well and find a rope attached to the inside. There seems to be no other way out of the chamber. Just then you see a small leather purse. Opening it, you find that it contains a silver coin. Do you choose to throw the coin into the well, or will you leave the purse and climb down the rope? Okay. So we got 7 or 215. So that is coin or rope. But there's a third option there that should have been there. I mean, obviously, the obvious thing to do is to take the coin and then go down the rope, not ignore the purse and go down the rope. It's a really strange alternative. I'm going to take the coin and throw it down the well, since that seems to be its only purpose. You throw it into the well. There is a sudden flash. As the smoke clears, you see in front of you a huge red creature with horns, fangs, and cloven feet. It struts about and laughs. The laugh echoes louder and louder. You summoned me, it looks scornfully at you with bright red eyes. Your wish is my command. You ask for a way out. It laughs again and then attacks you. Okay, so that is the wrong thing to do, clearly. When you decide to use the rope, turn to 215. And okay. Okay. So we have there we are. Okay, so I'm at 920. Let's see. Oops. Am I running out of? There we are. Pencil in this one, maybe. He has 8, 10. So 8, 10, and you roll there. Let's see, 8, 10. And let's just roll that one. So he rolls 8. I roll 4. 18. He rolls 8. I roll 2. 16. Oops. He rolls 6. I roll 9. He's down to 8. He rolls 10. I roll 9. That's a draw. 7. 6. Draw. 9. 3. 14. 6. 10. He's down to 6. 9. 8. A draw again. Lots of draws. 7. 6. Draw. 10. 3. 12, 12, 11, draw, 5, 8, he's down to 4, 6, 12, he's down to 2, 5, 5, he is dead. Now 12 stamina. Okay. Now I should probably use a provision. Okay. And go to 16. There we are. Provision 0. Still only one place I found fuel so far. And one place I found provisions, indeed. Okay. Doesn't have to be a dotted line. That could be a... So, okay. 215, yeah. You grab the rope and climb down. So this is the correct one. Hand over hand. There are few footholds and your arm will get very tired. Deduct 1 stamina point. Okay. -1 stamina. 11. Suddenly you feel a draft and see a hole on the left and a similar hole on the right. You think that you can swing to either side. Which do you choose? The hole on the left or the one on the right? Okay. 174 or 373, left and right. I'm going to go with the one on the left, 174. You fall down into a larger hole. It is completely dark and the sword will not shine. Just then you hear a hiss, a sniff, a slithering movement, and something like the licking of lips. There is a movement towards you and you prepare to fight. If you can sense fight, then combat it as normal. Okay, so at one point you could have learned how to sense fight. If you do not have the ability of the Free Brethren, then reduce your skill for this combat only by 2 and restore it if you win. If you survive, turn to 378, actually. Not if you win, but if you survive. Interesting distinction. So we have here, so effectively then it's a skill 10, stamina 10. This is probably where I will meet my maker, as it were. 378 if you win. Okay. So that means it's got 1 skill point advantage on me. So I've got 16 stamina. Oops. 16 stamina. I'll just put a new line there. 16 stamina. And this guy is effectively for this combat a 10. 10, 1 skill point advantage in his favor. And 3, 6. Okay, that's an auspicious beginning. 8, 6. I'm down to 14. 5, 11. Maybe this is where I should use luck though, because since he has the advantage in skill, there's a risk that I will lose if I don't use luck. So I hit him, but I want to use luck to make more damage. So I'm going to roll 5, luck down to 10. It takes, is it 1 extra point of damage? 1 extra, isn't it? It's been so long since I did that now. Luck in battles, let's see, extra 2 points, in fact. So not just 1, which means that he's down to 4. Okay, that's pretty good. 7, 9, okay. Looks like I'm making my own luck. 9 and 9, so that's him hitting me. 12, 7 and 4, I'm down to 10. 10 and 8, I'm down to 8. 9 and 7, I'm down to 6. 10 and 9, I'm down to 4 hit points. Oh dear. 3 and 8, that's him finally dying. Okay. And I survive and go to 3, 7, 8. You feel your way to an exit and find yourself on a ledge above another tunnel. You rest. If you have provisions, you may choose to have them now. If not, then add only 1 stamina point. This is where I should probably ask the cat, Bazook, to go and get me some food. Let's see. And I think I didn't say that you can't eat more than 1 provision at a time, so I'm going to send Bazook 2 times for provisions, and which means use my fuel. Presumably I can do that. So, which means I can restore 8 plus the 1. That's 9, 10, 11 of stamina points and get up to 15, which is still a bit low. Okay, so that's how I'm interpreting the rules. I can just rest there as long as I like. So basically, yeah, I can do that. You wake up to see 2 torches in the distance. It didn't say I was sleeping, it just said I was resting, but there you go. Text continuity error right there. You creep to the end of the ledge and see 2 orcs and a dark elf marching a dozen dwarves along the tunnel. All the dwarves wear metal collars. Suddenly 2 of the dwarves break free and rush towards you. One immediately seizes his throat and collapses. The other sees you and raises his hand for help. The others have still not seen you. Do you help the dwarf or stay hidden? I'm going to help the dwarf because I'm a goody two shoes, as you know. So I'm going to, yeah, just keep that in black for now. Or stay hidden. 2, 4, 5, or 1, 2, 9. Help 9, or hide. Let's just say hide. So 1, 2, 9. Help the dwarf. You reach out and pull him up. The dark elf does not notice you, but stops and shuts his eyes. All the dwarfs and orcs stand stock still. Suddenly you are stabbed in the back. The dwarf you helped has stolen your dagger, and as you turn around, you see him standing there with a glazed look in his eyes. Deduct 4 stamina points. -4 stamina. So that is probably the wrong thing to do. He then strides back to the others, and they all march off. After a while, you take the same tunnel. Turn to 203. So 203. And 4 less stamina. I'm down to 11 again. I'm going to send Bazook to for 1 more. There we are. 1 more provision, and I'm up to 15 stamina. 203. After a long walk, you stop for a rest at a comfortable-looking rock. You are now embarking on the most dangerous phase of your quest, indeed. Check your adventure sheet for luck, skill, stamina, and provisions. Check your abilities and any special knowledge gleaned so far, which is hardly anything, which means I must have taken the completely wrong path to get to this point. You stab the sword into the ground, and you see a wisp of blue smoke swirl out of the hilt until it becomes the face of a warrior knight. The face looks at you and begins to speak. You are my heir and have proved yourself fit to carry my sword. Beware. Now that you are close to the evil of Oguz, I will grant you the spell of life. Use it once when you are in the greatest need. The image fades and the small parchment flutters to your feet. You pick it up. It is covered in antique runes that have no meaning for you. Mark the spell on your adventure sheet. Use it once only. If your stamina has been reduced to 0 in any combat, in such a case, you may carry on as though you have won the fight with a stamina score of 4. Do not use it unwisely, for it is a strong spell and you will have to reduce your skill by 1 after using it. Well, if your stamina is reduced to 0, how can you use it unwisely? The only time you can use it is when the option is to die or use the spell. There is no unwisely. Okay. So I got the spell. What is it called again? The spell of life. The spell of life. Spell of life. I'm going to just put a reference to the paragraph here. So paragraph 203. Okay. Turn to 310. So it feels to me like I have missed something crucial along the way here. We'll get to that at some point, which means I'm sort of good at finding the right path now. It's just that there are some tributaries of the main stream, as it were, that I probably need to visit to find all the clues I need. You're now refreshed, and feel able to set off on your quest for the shield. After a long time, you come to what looks like a stone sentry post. On either side of the tunnel, there are 2 small slits in the rock. Do you rush past quickly, or do you crouch down and crawl under the slits? Excuse me. Right, I am back. Just some mail delivery as expected, although not the one I was expecting, which means there might yet be 1 more delivery at some point. I haven't checked the tracking. Right, let's see what's going on now. So you are now refreshed and feel able to set off on your quest for the shield. Do you rush past quickly, or do you crouch down and crawl under the slits? I'm going to probably I'm just wondering now, because it said it was the next part of the I'm just going to go another page now. Still not knowing how much I've actually missed. Starting from 203 there, which holds spell. And then it was 310. 310, and then 2 options from there on, which is rush past or crouch down. 3, 5, 1, crouch. Crouch seems to be the obvious option to me. So I'm going to go to 3, 5, 1 and see if I can sneak underneath the slits. You crouch down and edge past the slits. Suddenly the ground gives way and you fall into a slimy pit. So maybe it's a double bluff kind of trap, isn't it? 6, Zokusai. Shokusai? Hokusai? It's not clear. The language of these words are not very consistent, I don't think. Orcs appear. They are jubilant. You hear one of them ask if it is time for Felskar Crags. Right. He then throws a small round creature into the pit. The animal exudes a disgusting smell that sends you to sleep. It's all a bit bizarre, actually. Okay, turn to 64. 64. You wake up to find yourself chained to a rack on a great cliff top. Okay. Overlooking a vast cavern. Your sword and belongings are still on you, and you can feel Tabasha in your pocket. Standing all around are orcs wearing the fighting armor of the mailed fist, a symbol of the elite Hokusai. I'll just call them Hokusai. It sounds cooler. Orcs. The captain stands next to you and is obviously waiting for someone. Damn Kudam, kill my soldiers for sport and then don't turn up for the chase. A nearby lieutenant reminds him that the ceremony must begin at the appointed time laid down by the prophecy of Mukinadun. At the mention of this word, all the Hokusai orcs kneel down and stab their daggers into the ground. Then the captain calls out, "The chase has begun. Release the prey and summon the griffins." Okay, so this is interesting because now this sounds like this is an element of world building here. There's obviously something going on as part of some kind of mythology, ritual significance in what's going on, which is nice. Your bombs are cut and the drum pounds out a regular rhythm until the flapping of wings and snarling and snapping announce the arrival of the griffins. Flying, fire-breathing creatures, each with do griffins breathe fire? Didn't think that was his thing. Anyway, each with the body of a lion and the wings of a dragon. The drum beats and you are pushed forward to the edge of the cliff as the orcs recite an incantation in a strange dialect. Finally, you are pushed down onto a narrow ledge and told to run for your life. Turn to 138. Okay. You can hear the drum and the chanting as you edge along the small ledge. Suddenly you notice that the ledge divides into 2. Which one do you take? The one sloping down to the left or the one going down to the right? Okay, and no clues as usual about whether left or right is the correct choice, because both exits are identical, and that has been the case most of the choices here. Actually, there's no indication of anything, not even a bluff most of the time. I'm going to go left again, 287. The drum stops beating. You then hear wild screams as you edge your way down the steep slope. You can carry your sword in one hand but have little room to swing it. The ledge divides again. There is a steep track to the left and a gently sloping ledge heading right. Which way do you go? Okay, 3, 6, 1. 3, 6, 1 left or 1, 4, 6 right. I'm going to go to the right this time. 1, 4, 6. Cautiously you make your way along the ledge. You can hear a scrabbling behind you, and suddenly you see an orc, sword in hand, edging towards you. There is no room for full combat. Fight one strike. If you win, you find a ledge leading down to the left. Turn to 361. Okay, well, I already found that one. A ledge leading down to the right. Turn to 44. And the possibility of dropping down to a slightly wider ledge below. Go to 217. And this looks like it might have a kind of a topographical kind of structure again, possibly because of the way it referred to the left now, which means that if you turn right in the beginning, you might still end up at this point here. Except in this case, you would only go in one direction. So 44, right, and also 217. So that's down, right? Okay. And these are presumably the chasms of malice that I'm in right now. Anyway, combat. And it didn't say anything about skill. In this case, it's just high roll wins, basically. 50-50. Hooray. 6 for him and 8 for me. He dies. Okay. And I'm going to go to the ledge below, 217. You work your way along the ledge, trying not to look down into the dark abyss, when suddenly you hear a snarling and flapping of wings as the griffin appears above you. It attacks you with its deadly claws. Okay. So we've got 8, 10. And I am closing in on the point where I'm not going to want to roll these combats anymore, because I find it rather dull, to be honest. And I am at 9:15, yeah? No. What's my stamina? 4. This is still 4, is it? Oh, I can't remember. Anyway, let's go with 4. So 9, 8, draw, 6, 7. So he's down to 8, 2, 7. He's down to 6, 6, 5. Draw, 4, 6, 4, 5, 10. He's got 2 hit points left. 9, 5. I've got 2 hit points left. Or maybe I should use luck for that to avoid dying. So I'm going to use luck. 9. Yeah. So this means I only lose 1, and I'm down to 3. Next round, 4 and 7, and he is dead. Of course, there's no time for provisions right now, obviously. Right, if you survive, an orc appears along the ledge and you both swing at each other in one strike combat. He rolls 2, I roll 4, okay. If you lose, you fall to your death. If you win, you have a choice of 3 ledges to follow. Okay. Left, right, or middle. Okay. Any of these numbers we've seen before? No. Okay, so I'm going to put them up here. 340, 156, or 242. Okay. Left 340, left 340. You come to a dead end. Ooh, there is such a thing. The ledge stops and there is no way to leap onto another. Suddenly 3 orcs appear, fight each in turn, 1 strike combat. 6, 4, I die. If you win, go back and choose another route. Do you wish to go right or take the center path? Okay, so this is a dead end. And so 3 times 1s. That. Yeah, okay. And that is me dying for today. And right, so I hope you enjoyed that. This is quite a different book in many ways. parts of it I really like because there is some world building that is actually implemented into the story itself, the narrative that you are going through as you are playing, which is nice, although it's a little bit confusing because it's a different culture. You get exposed to that. Structure-wise, I'm not sure about this book. I mean, this last bit with the chasm chase thing, it feels a bit random. And the chance of dying are really huge. Every time you have a one-hit combat, it's a one-strike combat is 50-50. It's just the odds of, even with a good skill, your odds of winning that would be, well, 50-50 every time. And of course, if you do two of those, then of course your odds go down to, yeah, even less for surviving. So I'm actually quite lucky to have survived that far, I think. And there was that cave thing with the maze where you can go in all directions. Was a bit somehow a bit strange. And then it feels like there's some clues I haven't picked up on. And the thing is that it feels like you're moving along a little bit aimlessly because the structure of the book doesn't make you feel like you're following the right path, even when you are. Maybe I don't know. It's a bit strange to me. I'm not sure I like it so much at the moment, but it's, I mean, the good bits are, of course, redeeming features, but altogether I'm not sure about this one. Anyway, I will give it another go, of course, next episode, whenever that will be, hopefully not too long from now. And I'll probably spend some more of my day going and enjoying the nice sunshine that you can see coming through my window now. Because I got the blinds down, it is actually nice and bright. And I should enjoy that while I can. And yeah, so I'll leave you for now, and I hope you, I did already say that, didn't I? I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'll see you next time, and yeah, goodbye for now.